about the gap between a vice principal and a principal, it's huge in terms of responsibility, the diversity of knowledge that you've got, the breadth of knowledge you have to have, as well as taking people on a journey. If there's people out there who are potentially, aspirational leaders, future leaders, what advice would you give them, Pat, in terms of that sort of journey? What do they need to look at?
Having your networks, particularly as you're going through and coming through the ranks in FE, are absolutely critical. That allyship in all its forms is for me, when I look back to where I was at every stage that I've been at and who's been with me, who's been supporting me and acknowledging that support, have been genuinely critical. And that's not about favouritism.
Yeah.
That isn't about favouritism. That is, for me, that is around the choice, enabling me to think about my choices and if I decided to take them or not.
Yeah.
And that's a different thing. And that comes through that informal mentorship that I've had with a number of, and still do actually, different principals and even people who have now retired, is really critical. So having your networks, in terms of the FE sector is really important. But having networks is what I've learned as being a principal in terms of stakeholders, in terms of whether they be employers, local authority, you have to have them. And if you are not prepared to step out of your organisation and be the front of your organisation, then you're not going to be a principal. You are not going to be a CEO. And I think that's such an important part. So being able to negotiate influence and all those sorts of things that you learn along the way, you need to ratchet up again, becoming a principal. And I think those are fairly key things. And I think that business acumen, you don't have to have run a business, but you do need to understand how things work. So I think that's for me a quite critical part.
Okay, has it come naturally to you? I mean, obviously, you've been on a journey and you've sort of have evolved as a person. You've talked about being a person who thrives in their own time, but then you've had to sort of change a little bit as well. Now you've had to change some of your ways of working. So, talk to us about Pat that is now, in terms of sitting at a grade 2 institution. You've turned that organisation around to the Pat that maybe when you started the journey, and how have you changed, if you don't mind us?
That's a really hard question. I can say how I've changed since I started being a principal at Harrow to being
maybe last 10 years.
So in the last 10 years I've changed so much. I think I've become. I have learnt not to take things personally. I think that's probably the biggest thing, because I do think about things a lot. I do reflect on things a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's because I'm always thinking putting myself in the best position for things, and and so on, or whether it comes from being being black. Or female. I'm not. Yeah. I'm sure all of those things actually do apply.
Yeah.
But I think I have learnt not to take things personally, that this is about the institution. And what I've developed over that time is I am a loyal. The one thing that about me is that, if this is where I'm at, then this is where I'm going to be. And we need to make this work for everyone. And coming back to Birmingham was really important for me. That you know what I mean, that I've got to help make things a better experience educationally, for training, whatever, for people in Birmingham. That is because I know what I got out of it, and everybody deserves those same opportunities. And the fact that we've lost those in my career, I think, is a travesty. But then it's about how can we put some of those things back, and that's what we can put quite a lot of it back if we've got the will to do it. It's not all about money, but it is about being connected, in Birmingham, And that's not about connected just to the local authority or combined authority, you just mean, or big business. It really is about being connected with the communities that you serve.
Absolutely. Pat, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your insights. It's been lovely to speak with you and actually connect all those dots and all those sort of ingredients that you've shared with us. You're an absolute inspiration to us all. We salute you for your support with the Multicultural Apprenticeship and Skills Alliance. Really appreciate that. I know you're a leader when it comes to anything to do with diversity, equity, inclusion, anti-racism, because of, again, lived experiences and so forth. You identify with that. You're, again, one of very few, a handful of black women leaders within the further education and skill space. Again, being a pioneer within the field of computing, being a sort of a pioneer in terms of doing computing, artificial intelligence. You bring all of that, and you look at somebody who is very, very unique in in that way. So, thank you so much for that. You are a absolute role model for us all.
Canny Conversation Podcast Series 5 by Safaraz Ali.